Lazima tukuje hapa Nairobi headquarter. Watu wanaweza move pale mashinani. Kuna mtu mwenye hawezi pata hiyo fare. According to interview yenye nakuja, nasikia tu toka. Sijajua ni kutoka ni nini umefanya. Umefanya makosa gani?
Kama wewe ni cleaner unafuna pale kwa interview kwa nani hapa juu kuosha choo? Ati sijui umekuwa na experience ya kuosha mabafu for how long? Hiyo is a labor job. A labor job unafaa tu ujitokeze, uko na passport, uko na nguvu ya kuosha. Period.
Waziri alipoongea pale hivyo ndani alisema pesa ilipwi. But after waziri kutoka, kuna msee pale ameingia na akasema after kulipa hizo vitu unalipa $450. Sema 60k na msema ni free. So hapo kuna mtu mmoja hapo akakando anafanya nini? Anataka kulia Mkenya chini ya maji.
Most of these people wenye wako hapa not as vile tunasema ni youths. Wengi ni family men. Hii kitu ingetaka niende rais na aone vile Kenya inakaa. Kenya saizi yenyewe kusema ukweli jobs iko chini.
The cry we've heard from countries where people have gone and said wanateswa wanataka kurudi are usually for house helps. Usually in one sector. It's not the entire sector.
So those job seekers who are the Kenyatta International Convention Center for the recruitment drive, but those that were dealing with more practical causes, that is to talk about masonry, carpentry, and electricals, they were at the Kabete Polytechnic. Let's watch some of the voices from that side.
Vile tulikuwa tunaambiwa ati utakuja tu kama una passport ama uko na barua zingine, lakini kama una passport utaweza ruhusiwa uende. Lakini mambo ni ingine, sio vile nilikuwa natarajia.
Nilikuwa nimesomea kazi ya cleaners na nilipoingia kwa line ya asubuhi wakasema hawachukui watu ambao wako na ndevu. Wakaniambia wewe enda kwanza, enda unyoe ndevu kisha urudi. Mimi nilipoenda nikatoka kidogo, nikarudi nikaona ni vizuri kwa sababu bado hata mimi ninaweza hii kazi ya mjengo, construction helpers, na ndio maana yake nikaweza kuingia kwa ile line.
Mnaambiwa kuwe na certain experience, period of experience. Na huna, you are a young person, unaitishwa 3 to 5 experience, 5 years experience, hauna. They need to give us this job so that we can have that kind of experience that they are asking for.
Na vile naona hapa tumejazana, kuna crisis in the next, kuna crisis ya Gen Z itatokea, ukosefu wa ajira. Kwa hivyo naweza omba serikali, you need to deal with this crisis of unemployment mbio.
Kama una ujuzi, una vitambulisho ya kuoneshana kwamba umehitimu, unaweza fanya kazi, njoo ujaribu bahati yako. Unaweza pata bahati upate kazi, uende kule mbele.
All right, quite a bit of feedback there from both locations. And of course, we understand that the ministry has extended the recruitment process to Monday, which is today, up until midday. And the Cabinet Secretary for Labour was here talking about the positions, 3,000 of them. You've been speaking as they were speaking.
Yeah. We are just...
Where do you start? Let me start with you this time.
Thank you for giving me the priority.
Right, go ahead and tell us, because there's a real challenge. Well, the voices of the young Kenyans there, including one who says that hawachukui watu wako na ndevu, which I thought you can actually cut them.
Yeah.
But what do you think we are doing as a country at this time?
We are doing very poorly. If we can collect thousands that I saw on television, thousands that are come to my offices all the time looking for jobs, and all we can do is lump them up, put them on a plane, and dump them in another country to go and look for manual jobs like cleaning, for heaven's sake. And these are people who have education, because our literacy levels are very high in Kenya. I feel that we have not been fair to Kenyans. As a government, we have failed, and we are going to continuously fail if we don't change up the setup of the systems in this country. Allow me to just address that young man who said that he was turned down because he had not shaved. I think, my brother, it's good to be honest to each other and with each other. And for us as parents, I think we have a job to do. I had some interviews I had called about 2 weeks ago because I needed about 40 workers. And to my shock, university graduates came in those kofias. You know those kofias the old women wear in the village? The ones you wear when you're in a cold place like Githunguri, where you have to cover your ears. And they came in wearing such kind of kofias for an interview. And my interviewer was shocked. he even had to ask them, are you sure you came for a job? You're looking for a job, dressed the way you are dressed? I mean, we have some work to do as parents. If really you are going for an interview, I mean, good grooming. Cut your beards if you have to. Cut your dreads if you have to. Because they are not all jobs will take your dreads in. Not all jobs will take your jeans, your dirty jeans, you know, your what do you call them? You know,
and
the
jeans, you mean the design, right?
Yeah, no, I mean the design, yes. Like, for example, the setup in European countries when it comes to formal jobs is very different from the US. So our young people are watching movies and documentaries from certain countries. They copy-paste their culture. They forget that we have a British background. Our culture is British. That is why I didn't come here in jeans. That is why I'm dressed the way I am dressed. That is why Mheshimiwa is dressed the way he's dressed. Otherwise, there are some cultures he would come in a short, and he will do this interview formally. So we have to understand who we are and where we are going. And I think we have a job to do as parents. I have continuously struggled with young people on matters good grooming. Personally,
right.
I do not employ people who do not conform with my expectation. For me to believe that you can work in whatever job I have for you, the first thing I need to understand from you before you show me and prove to me that you can do it is your appearance. How do you look? How do you communicate? I know you might be having a very good brain, but you know, your first appearance to me matters a lot, especially for formal jobs. If it is informal jobs, that's fine. But for formal jobs, I think we have a job to do. And I looked at the cues, those cues that you are showing there on TV. Look at the kind of even the bags the women are carrying. Yeah, just look at the bags. And you want to become a cabin crew operator? And you're carrying...
But some will tell you they're not able to afford any better.
Yeah, but you would rather not carry that one than carry it. Okay. You'd rather, you know, hold your books and your phone, if you don't have a bag, in a decent way. Walk tall, chest up, chin up. Because, you know, sometimes, let me tell you, I wish I can show you. Sometimes I wonder how even we walk, whether we can appeal to anybody for a job. Walking. Walking. But when you bang your slippers and your shoes and you're walking, already that tells, let me tell you, we have a job to do. If really, I'm not trying to say that's the reason why we don't have jobs, but I think from where I come from, I think probably maybe I was trained in a different way, but from where I come from, we have a very serious... Now, let me go back to my slot. I said I had 40 slots. Out of 40, I only got 4. 4 out of 40. And you can follow me for details. And
It appears to also be the challenge of training and preparedness.
Yes, I think we don't have a structure of or a policy of training and recruitment. You must always, that policy must be in place. But before I speak about that very strongly, something was said by Wamuchomba about our education system that we have over-commercialized. Allow me to pivot back a bit for half a second or so. We got it right to make education completely free during the Kibaki administration. And the Kibaki philosophy of expanding access to education from free primary, affordable secondary, and building more universities in every county was really based on the philosophy of removing barriers and decommercializing education. But after 2013, we went back to the dark ages of commercialization and creating barriers in education. Look at it from the fancy policy of laptops, which never worked. Who conceived that idea? Was it a problem in the sector? Was it a priority? Did it take off? It collapsed. To abruptly changing the curriculum without following the due professional process. Now, globally, particularly the third world countries and the IMF and World Bank and the rich conglomerates in the world, the financial institutions and other corporate organizations.
Right.
They are seeing education as a new frontier of business worth over $10 trillion. And when you look at programs that are being pushed to countries in the third world, they are meant to trigger business. Some of them, one, introducing local schools like the bridge schools, which we eliminated here in Kenya, the policy of ABET, alternative basic education. We don't need those type of schools in Kenya. But why are they being forced? Those are avenues of pocket money and money for individuals. And changing the mode of transmission and management of it, like, of course, centralizing textbooks where teachers don't choose textbooks. It is business-oriented. Changing curriculum is, when you change curriculum, then you print new books. There is consultancy. It is business. And I would say, in summary, from borrowing from the observations of Honorable Muchomba, we have allowed excessive commercialization and introduction of flagship programs in our education that we are even getting more and more confused. And I would say, in short, KK administration, from the Presidential Working Party report, we should not be talking about Parliament becoming a barrier, but Parliament should be a facilitator of implementing that report so that then we can see the gaps that cannot be fixed. But if a report that was meant to remedy all these anomalies, ranging from curriculum to funding models of education and also removing barriers of cost to education, then I think we are not doing justice to education. And that speaks even to the gaps of CBC.
As you speak about commercialization, because initially, way back, the Kenya Institute of Education used to own the curriculum and also the publication of the materials. I think it used to come from...
Let me tell you, all third world countries are victims of intimidation from other institutions and the third world. And I dare say, even some of the curriculum changes and education reforms in third world are dictated externally. If you read the reports, the research studies that were conducted by KNUT, it would even tell you that CBC was imposed externally. Remember that consultant?
So is publishing of books part of the commercialization?
Of course, it is. It is. You would use existing institutions to facilitate that change. It's part of commercial...
But what would you say
if you print new books, for example...
Sorry, Honorable Session, what would you say about expanding the publishing sector versus just using one government institution to do the publishing? I mean, where do you draw the line between commercialization and expansion and growth of a sector?
No, this space may not be enough to discuss that very extensively, but take it in very simple terms. If indeed you're introducing a new subject or you are reforming teaching in a given subject, then you'll have to print new books. Those books will be printed by the different publishers, whether it is KICD, whether it is KLB, whether it is Oxford, and indeed, there will be a lot of expenditure that will go into printing of new books and printing of new learning resources. You are telling parents to buy A, B, C, D, and to do a number of things on the laptops. Then you are doing business with the ICT gadgets, which really is not speaking to the acquisition of knowledge. Remember, basic education means acquisition of basic knowledge, not even competencies. So that really, why do you bring in competencies? Basically, because you want to force learners, you want to force parents, you want to force government to spend on business flagship programs and other gadgets. So I think as a country, we should speak to our own freedom and our own values, that really we want to strengthen knowledge education that has been the best in this country, and still narrow down to acquisition of knowledge and competencies by strengthening STEM education. That is a conversation for another day. But for the question...
sorry, I think you've expended your time. Let's just circulate it to the next speaker. But also it's important to note here that the transition to CBC was initiated in the Uhuru Kenyatta administration when William Ruto was the deputy president. So there is political responsibility.
I wouldn't like us to link these things to personality.
It's not
but I think as a country, we speak what is true.
Because you know, Honorable Session, you said that under President Mwai Kibaki, education became free. But after 2013, at the change of regime, things changed.
Under President Ruto, there is a presidential working party report that seeks to reform all these. And
that
to
has
me, I'm satisfied. It speaks to the same. But now in training and recruitment, in terms of policy, because that is a question you asked.
No, you're running away from what I'm asking you.
Training, no, I'm answering the question that you asked me initially.
Kenya Kwanza, yes, William Ruto wants to fix this through the presidential
party. The government of the day takes responsibility. The government of the day, Sami, you don't need to...
Honorable Sossion, let me just say what I'm saying. This was taken to Parliament, and the National Assembly said this cannot be implemented because it has not come to Parliament. That was September 2023. We are now in October, towards the end, 2024. Have we made progress? In Parliament, controlled by Kenya Kwanza, in fact, today there's broad-based arrangement.
Parliament is not controlled by by Kenya Kwanza. It's an independent parliament. It can do its own business. Yes. Yeah, of course, there's a doctrine of independence of institutions.
Okay.
But then there is no debate about it. It should be implemented.
Mheshimiwa Elachi sits in that National Assembly.
Yeah. We sit with my chair.
Sorry, what is it?
Well,
I mean,
I don't want to go. I want us to go back to...
Yes, we will, but let's just tie this, because you sit in the House.
Yes.
What responsibility should Parliament take in not addressing some of these challenges that he quite eloquently speaks about?
No, but I think, you see, when you say Parliament, for us, Parliament, we will look at the document and we will tell you that we did not just reject the president, the whole task force report. No, I think there were key recommendations of what we felt we will not go the right way if we do not follow through. And I think it was our side that time before broad-based that rejected more. And I remember...
So a year later, no progress, really?
Now, it's not our mistake. We've rejected, we've taken back. We need to see the recommendations we requested. The Committee of Education needs to bring back the report then. If indeed we have some strides that government, the executive side has made. And I think that is very critical before we go to recess. Let us try the 3 things I would wish we can do as Parliament before we go to recess. 1, deal with the issues of banding, and we see where we can come to a consensus. If in this country we can have band 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and leave it at that, so that every child will feel we are part of this education system, and Parliament passes that, that will be very good. We go now to the SHA, where nobody is understanding anymore what to do. When you ask, a parent is told you have to go through some tests, the testing of the, I don't know what they are testing, but there's some testing that when you start now, a means testing system, I don't know what, and no parent is understanding that. We have to ensure before we go to December, we have cleared that every parent in this country who was under NHIF and had paid NHIF is able to use that SHA. I met one of the Economic Council members, I won't say the name, and he said, no. We are on track, we are okay. I told him, you are on track at the top. But here at the bottom where your policy starts, you are 0. So don't tell me when a child at Kenyatta Hospital or another, the other day we had to look for 60,000 to pay. We had to look, there's a child in Kakamega, the parent was fully on that NHIF insurance, is struggling with 311,000 to pay.
Right.
It's very unfair. And when you tell them, they tell you this. But now let me go to my...
Yes, talk to us about
follow up what
those
has said.
And Mheshimiwa Elachi,
yes.
At this time, once upon a time, there's a law that was passed that established National Employment Authority that is supposed to take stock of what skills we have in the country,
yes,
to connect job seekers with employers.
Yes.
And even though the Cabinet Secretary said that it is being involved in this process, there's no evidence of the involvement of National Employment Authority, even in identification of these skills.
You see, the biggest challenge our young people will face is this blanket where you tell people, come for an interview, blanketly. Definitely you'll have 1 million young people waking up and lining up for this interview. For me, if the ministry is serious about this export of labor, is that you look at the skills. If they want technical students, identify that, go and use the public service way of recruiting interns. And we do it per constituency. We get a number of young people who will come. And so pick from the 290 constituencies, throw there your application there. Start from there. Any person who is willing, and by the way, this one of just bringing them and you have not even told them, the process will be number one. You are going for an informal job of washing toilets. You are doing this, so that when you come to that interview there, the first attitude you should not be having as you who is coming to look for that job is to say, this kazi tu ni ya kwenda kuosha choo. Hapana. You needed to have come knowing that is the job you've decided. And I've always told young people, and I know that's where we normally have some conflict, because I tell you are coming knowing very well, you have decided from your heart. And to wash a toilet is not a joke. It is a serious business abroad. Yes. So you, when you think it's just a simple job because you are in Kenya, my friend, if I'm washing a toilet in the US, it's not as small, it's a better job than going to any office. So you are taking, that's the attitude. You've refused to learn more and do research more. And number two, you cannot...
But where were they supposed to conduct this research from? How are they to know?
No, Sam, no. In fact, as we were in the worst era, we had no place to... Where did we have this in our time? But we knew very well when I'm going to look for my visa in the US to struggle, I am going to do an informal job, and that job pays. Them today, they see. You Google, you realize what the US is paying per hour for a toilet, for this, you will see. So you cannot, and you have your computers even in your classrooms. We didn't have those things. So let us not make this generation a generation where we never passed through. We also passed through in a very tough way, and that is why we are tough. Now, because they have decided the tough way is not very good, they want a simple way where things are put here, they will find themselves in challenges, because we were lucky. We used to compete, a few of us. Most of them are learned. So you are competing, not just you. Don't forget, this job is not here alone. You'll go in Tanzania, they are looking for them. Now, the thing that will knock us out, number one, is our attitude as Kenyans. Number two, we think they are looking for papers. They are not looking for papers. Yeah, if they were looking for papers, why would they go to Malawi? Why would they go to Tanzania? No, they're not looking for papers. They are looking, and one thing in Kenya that is known, which I think we are going to lose, our gold was our human resource. People loved us because we are more dedicated, we appreciate our jobs, we do it with resilience, and I'm praying our young people can understand that.
All right. Let us
and you cannot just
transition.
Lastly, I am very worried with the boy child. I am seeing the girl child will go for this job more than the boy child. Why? When you look at the dressing, at least the girls are prepared for an interview. Now my boys are with flip-flops. Some of them, the shirt is down. He's thinking, I'm just going for an interview. So it doesn't need to tuck in a shirt. The hair, it doesn't need to comb the hair. Allah, you never know whether the same guy of the company or one of them is just seated with those interviewers, just seeing. And in the end, they will leave all the ones with first class and everything. Do you know they can even take those who don't have papers?
All right.
To go.
Let's transition. You wanted some 20 seconds.
I just wanted to affirm on what Honorable Beatrice is talking about. I have a personal friend who works in Dubai and is one of the largest employer. And she works in a mall, in malls where she sells honey. And she needed people who know how to speak Kiswahili to sell honey to the Arabs. She called me up and told me, I need people who can sell honey in Kiswahili. And I told her, we have so many people. She said, okay, fine. I would want you to prepare for me some people so that we can help your people. She's a Kenyan, a Kamba, from Machakos. Can I tell you? She struggled getting people with the right working attitude. She could not get.
Attitude is so bad.
She told me she would rather hire from the Philippines, and she's a Kenyan, than hire from Kenya. Because from her experience, all the Kenyans who go to work at the same level with the Philippines will take long to catch up. Our people take so fast to catch up, but we are not patient. So the turnover for Kenyans is very high. You work for 3 months, you want to move to the next job. And then you don't want to be submissive, you don't want to, to be given instructions. She told me we have a problem. And this is where I want the minister to listen to us, because I'm sure he's watching us. In the Philippines, they have a whole government department in charge of labor preparation. You see our NYS here? The Philippines have their own NYS, strictly equipped to prepare workers for international opportunities. So they're taken through under the government expenditure. You know, if you want to work, for example, as a VIP bodyguard in the Arabs, how should you behave? Other than just having the height to become a bodyguard, what else is needed? Now, for us here, we believe creating jobs is announcing for an interview. And every other girl and boy who wants a job shows up. That's a problem, a very serious problem. So the minister must make sure that the National Employment Authority is not a boardroom authority. They need to come out and partner with constituencies. We need to go back to Parliament and amend our CDF Act and allow CDF to actively involve in the orientation and the trainings of our job seekers. Otherwise, right now as we speak, National Employment Authority is a boardroom authority. They have no partnership with the counties. They have no partnership with the constituencies where the labor is jammed up. So for us to move forward, National Employment Authority need to establish training centers in counties and in the constituencies so that we can take these job seekers an orientation program, prepare them psychologically, physically, and academically on what is needed.
Sam, let us just use NYS. Let us just use NYS. And we have those ones who have gone through NYS. Give them the first priority to go for these jobs and build the name of our country and make our country for people to now
then take it from there.
Have good people.
Mheshimiwa Susan, allow us to transition to the next